A powerful tool for understanding communication and its dynamics, group dynamics, is David Kantor's four-player model. It has many uses and applications, but first we want to understand how this tool works. It's actually a model. The four-player model says that there are only four possible intentions when we talk with other people, and you can actually completely forget about content as long as you're watching the person's intention, the body language, the face expression, the tone in the language. And so we know without content which role a person is actually in. The first intention that we all know, somebody always starts some sort of conversation. Let's talk. Let's go to the cinema. Let's have breakfast. This person initiates some sort of interaction with another person, and David Kantor calls this role the role of the mover. The mover initiates some sort of interaction and conversation, and in that gives orientation to whatever and whoever is in the room. Now, there's only three possible ways of responding. You can either say, oh, that's a good idea, let's go to the cinema. And that is the role of the follower. Or you can say, I don't think that's a good idea. In that case, you would be in the role of the opposer. And the follower is there for completing something. So the follower stands for completion, for doing it. The opposer stands for, let's correct it. It's not a good idea. Let's not go to cinema this week. Let's go to the cinema next week, because next week the tickets will be cheaper. So without an opposer, there is no correction. These are three well-known roles we all are very well familiar with. And then there is a fourth role. And this is the observer, the bystander, as David Kantor calls it. And the observer, the bystander, isn't sure whether yes or no, let's go or not go to the cinema. Let's hear more. I want to hear more. So the bystander wants to listen and learn. The bystander wants to hear more, observe more, know more, and learn more before they decide what to do. So the bystander is more in a facilitation role. The bystander is not a role that isn't in the conversation. The bystander is actually actively watching, observing, or giving feedback to the other people in the room. It's not a person who is just, I don't care, I'm not in this at all. Well, if you don't care, then you're not in this communication process at all. You're not sharing it, so you're not in any of these four roles. And this is basically the model. It's quite important to see the power of this, because David Kantor found that you can only be in these four roles. When you're communicating, you're either the mover who wants to give orientation, you're the opposer who wants to correct, or what I call the minesweeper. It's really very important people. And you could be the follower who implements, who does what's been suggested, and the observer or bystander who is trying to learn more and understand better what's going on. And this is all there is. Now, knowing that, we can understand communication much better. So whenever there's confusion in the room, you can use these four glasses, put them on, and see who's in which role. Who's trying to do what? Don't listen to what they say. Have a look at how they're behaving, the body language, the emotionality in the room. And that's when you know which role a person is in. So it's quite powerful. It actually, David Kantor calls it micropolitics. When you use this model, it takes all the micropolitics out of the room. It becomes very, very clear who wants what. And the example that I've given in another video is this group of 40 people discussing, should we take the supplier A or supplier B? This is a powerful tool to come to clarity in this big group. What are the arguments in the room? And eventually they find, oh, that's clarity. This is very clear what you're saying. So this four-player model is not for decision-making in the true sense of the word. It is for clarity, for reaching clarity, because without that clarity, you can't make any meaningful decision. You can't have a good solution. So this produces clarity and normally gives a group a starting point for further steps or decisions. Without that clarity, it's going to be very difficult. Now, knowing these four roles, we can actually ask, okay, what are we going to do with this model now?